So today my guest is actually someone very special. He has probably a total of, I would say, 3 million followers combining many platforms, TikTok, Instagram, YouTube. And I don't have a bajillion-dollar marketing budget for my company, but I actually know Anand from a long time. And most people probably know you already, Anand, but how about you give yourself a quick introduction?
Yeah, I mean, thank you for that. For a lot of people that are watching that don't know about this, I started out living in my sister's house. I was broke. I didn't even have a car. I used to travel to the metro all the time. And you were actually one of the first people that used to do my podcast, which was in my room, in my cupboard for good acoustics. And like we would just talk about random topics.
Yes.
And here we are 5 to 6 years later.
It's so, and how we met was so crazy. I was working in a mall at the time. I was working in a mall. You know those people that give you directions? I was working and studying throughout college, and Anand's like, he shows up, he's like, where's this place? And I'm like, oh, here. And then I'm like, you want to be friends? He's like, yeah, let's hang out. And then it was a very weird friendship.
The randomest.
Where we had a quick 5-minute chat, and then we hung out periodically through the years. And then one day I was scrolling my phone. I'm like, Anand, this is Anand's skit. Also on in skit. Yeah. Also on, and then you were just everywhere, all over social media.
I was trying every single thing, man. I would like people thought I was schizophrenic at one point because I would try like different wigs on. Yeah. You would see like the craziest stuff in the beginning, you know. And I would invite you for these podcasts, which would get like maybe 10 views or 20 views, and I just knew that if I stuck with it, with the consistency, and then I figured out the strategies, then I would be able to probably finally go viral, which ended up happening.
And that's a great point, because what most people, they don't see the pre-famous version of you, which you didn't just become viral overnight. It was almost like a decade of just what I've seen. I went to see you perform in, dingy bars where you're doing stand-up. I've seen you try various formats on YouTube before you found your strut, but it was like a long and very demanding thing for you to get to where you are, where you found something that works for you, and then you ended up becoming who you are now with.
Oh, 100%. Yeah. I mean, thank you for all the support over the years, especially seeing me through all of my worst moments, because a lot of my friends used to ask me like, bro, why are you even shooting these videos? They're cringe. Yeah. My parents used to be like, you're a disappointment to our family. And I just kind of knew that like, I just have to figure out, like, I'm like, why can these people make it and why can't I make it? And then I just kept with it while having a full-time job, while going to jiu-jitsu, going to martial arts, sleeping off my sister's couch every single night. And I think the most important thing is consistency, and it's belief in yourself and understanding what your passion and your vision is. You have to find your purpose.
Yeah, it was crazy because when we met, there was a diverging. There was a clear point where you're either going to go super corporate into marketing or within your known field, but a lot of people kind of are hesitant towards going all in on social media. But you were one of the few people I knew that just went all in. You're saying, I'm going to make this happen no matter what, and it did work. And when that does happen, what does that feel like? I'm sure everyone fantasizes about it. Mm-hmm. Oh, one day I'm going to post something that's going to go viral. When it actually does, what does it feel like? What happens to your phone? Did it just blow up from the notifications?
Yeah, listen, well, I actually messed up in the beginning because I had my personal number up on my Instagram while I was blowing up. So I was getting phone calls from Nigeria being like, I am your late lost ancestor. And the funny thing is, in the very beginning, I didn't even know that any of this was about to happen. I was just posting the videos because I really enjoyed them. But then I also worked as a social media marketer. So this is what a lot of people don't know about, is I was actually pitching influencers to different brands here in Dubai. So I would work for different media agencies and I would see what these influencers would make. And I was like, this is absolutely ridiculous. For one video, they're charging XXX amount of dollars. Yeah. And then I was like, there is something in this, you know? So and while I was at that agency, I was not making any money from the agency.
No, not at all.
The influencers were making all the money.
Yeah.
And I was like, how do I combine my love for making people laugh, my need for attention and me making money? And that's
that was the key component. It wasn't like you were just some guy that got lucky by posting consistently. You built a backlog of information that you worked in various jobs throughout the years, various marketing companies. I believe what? Oh my god, I remember this. What you used to work marketing for a pizza company once?
Yeah,
and
yeah,
I was like, dude, score, because
Yeah,
we'd
right.
we'd be driving around with like 3-4 stacks of free pizza.
And you would help drive me to that place because I didn't have
yeah,
a car.
yeah. We had like this carpool. We were going the same direction, so we drive together in the same
Yeah,
place and
yeah.
back. And man, Sharjah traffic was not as bad as it is now.
Oh
but
my God, it was so terrifying, man. Like I couldn't be late for that job and I'd be terrified, but at least we would get pizza at the end of it. So we were
yeah,
happy
I
with
mean,
that.
we were fed and broke, and we were probably, like it was such an interesting thing seeing. Basically, what you hear about in places like America, where you have these success stories or having the American dream, it also very much happens for regular people. Like we were normal before we started our individual businesses or got on social media, and it's very much real. You can enter the buy, start off making, oh my god, my salary at like the mall job was like 5,000 dirhams at the
Yeah.
time, something like barely livable, but eventually, you step up, you learn more skills, you change jobs, and before you know it, you have established businesses in the country if you grasp enough knowledge. So
Absolutely.
I guess my question primarily is, okay, you've gone viral. You are now a famous person. How did you find the experience of becoming an individual person into transforming into a business? Like, what was that journey like when you said, okay, I'm getting paid now.
Right.
I need to set up some sort of structure. What was your thought process through that time?
Yeah, well, I think, I'm a big proponent of luck is where hard work meets opportunity. And I think that I felt like all of those years of being a social media marketer helped prepare me for when it finally happened. Obviously, you're not really ready for the whole recognition on the streets and then brands approaching you and everything. But I started making money. It wasn't enough money to completely replace my full-time job, but it was enough side money to where I started saving now. So while I was working my full-time job, I kept telling my parents, I'm like, I want to quit. I want to just go all in on this. I want to go all in on this. But then I kept listening to other successful people in their own right saying, only quit your job when you are making twice to maybe 3 times the amount from your hobby or what you're passionate about. So I waited and I bided my time, and it got to the point where I was getting 3 to 4 to 5 brand deals per month, and that's when I just took the call and I quit my job. My last job, I actually really, really loved it.
Yeah, you love that place because they were really nice to you. They were
Super
very
cool.
flexible, and
Yeah.
you were working from home when I met you one time.
Yep. It was one of the best companies
Yeah.
I've worked with in Dubai, and it was hard for me to find one of those. And it ended up happening at the right time.
And do you think that your spending habits of something, because even when you weren't making money, you were terrible with money. I remember that very clearly. Do you think that you've matured in the sense that, okay, this is company revenue, this is how I'm gonna place these budgeting? Do you still think in the manner, do you think more strategically about the money that comes into your
Absolutely
business?
not. If anything, I would say that's also why I came for this podcast. I need an accountant, and I need your business expertise in this. I'm very bad with money. So Emirates NBD keeps telling me that I have to repay the loans. I said, I thought NBD stands for no big deal. They're like, no, that's not the way that works. It's not as bad as it seems, but I had a lot of liquid savings that I had from all the brand deals that I had accrued. But then I was just like, oh, I want to get a car and I want to invest in a property. And now suddenly I'm down to a very minimal amount.
Yeah.
But the good thing is I have cash flow coming in.
Exactly.
And the cash flow I have coming in is way more than I could ever. Am I allowed to say figures on here?
Yeah, sure. Say the numbers. Yeah.
Okay, perfect. So at my social media marketing job, I was making anywhere from 3,500 to 4,000 dirhams per month. Over here, I can average between 80,000 to 200,000 dirhams per month.
Yeah.
And that is on a slow month.
Yes.
So there's so much there's so much potential here and there's so much opportunity if you know the right way to go about it. Also, it's about positioning your brand. You asked me, what is it like when you finally went viral and switching from that personal to a business? I knew that I needed a brand identity, and I knew that I really needed to structure how businesses look at me. So I was the guy in the beginning who was doing the corporate stuff, the job interviews. Oh, you can pitch your product with me in a podcast studio. And then Sandeep, who's my co-partner, who's this goofy, silly Indian guy, he was telling me like, bro, we should do the shoots outside the podcast studio. And when we did that, the amount of brand deal inquiries blew through the roof. Because now brands can see their product with you on the outside, in a car showroom, in a barber shop, in a bar.
So it's also about positioning yourself to where the companies can kind of see them placing their product in your hands.
That's why I tried so many different things that are brand friendly. For example, I would try different accents, comrade. Engineer, I would be like, if you want me to promote Philips, I could do it like this, or I can do it with an American accent. So like it helps brands diversify. And they're like, okay, he can do all of these things, but then maybe I'm doing like a random skit in a car, and I'm reviewing a car. So,
are you kind of worried about staying ahead of the curve and staying relevant throughout the years? Because the average kind of life cycle for any social media personality seems to be between 6 and 7 years.
True.
Do you see that you may potentially burn out and you want to expand your brand outside of yourself? Because as businesses or people become successful in what they're doing, they kind of want to take a step back and let things operate in the background while they're managing from on top. But that's something very difficult for internet personalities, because people come to see you. They don't want to see, no offense to Alan there, who's your intern. Really
Sorry,
nice guy,
Alan.
but
Nice
no
guy,
offense,
man.
Alan. But what I'm trying to say is that do you have foresee an exit strategy or a plan to a point where you're saying, okay, I've made this much money from my brand deals. Eventually what I'm doing is I'm going to rotate into different factors, but you're going to get bored of that as well. So do you have an overall plan to just maybe one day stopping or converting your platform to something else?
No,
What are the thought process for that?
No, that's a great question. I honestly think that I'm always trying to figure out different streams of revenue, because with brand deals, it's something that's fun and challenging for me, but at the same time, they sometimes keep me in a box. They don't give me full creative control, and I have to do what they say because they're my only source of income. So what have I done to combat this? I've worked for YouTube, growing my YouTube channel. I'm working on merch. But most importantly, I realized I like to teach people. What do I like to teach people? I like to teach people how to create content that can go viral, because I realized I'm able to replicate that time and time again, and I have a very easy, proven strategy behind it. So I created the Viral Formula, which is a guide that's teaching people all of the things I've learned over the years, condensed in a short form way, to find out how they can create content that they're passionate about. With all that said and done, a few years into the future, what am I going to be doing? I truly think that I can find the best parts of people and I can bring it out of them. So if I'm sitting in a podcast studio with you, for example, if we talk long enough, I'll be like, okay, this is the best part of you, bring it out in front of the camera. So I think I would like to get more into like production, directing, and kind of managing that kind of
And
thing.
that service is actually very valuable. People need to understand that in order for your platform to be successful, you don't need that many followers or that many people. If you have a high ticket product that's a couple $1,000s or something like that, all you need is 4,000, 5,000, 6,000 followers. And if you can monetize that properly, then that could lead to independent success that completely changes your life. No one, it doesn't mean they have to be the next Anand or the next whatever viral person. I think that we can all businesses could benefit from learning to properly leverage social media, because that's a new marketplace. People aren't going to physical retail offices anymore or seeing what the news is. They're going on social media to find who their next service provider or product will be. So that's a
100%.
very valuable service.
Yeah, and it's a trust thing as well. Like you kind of, the more social media people that you follow, the more you start to understand who are the authentic people and who are kind of faking it. And when you kind of identify those people, you would rather trust them than some Tucker Carlson or like Jerry Springer. I don't know why I thought of him, but like some of those people who are selling you something, whereas I'm genuinely just trying to help educate on how you could create content. Or if there's a bodybuilder that you really like on social media that's selling some kind of plan for that kind of a thing, I think there's a lot of value in that, because you can always just learn these skills. And even if it's a low ticket item, it's going to just help you propel your way. Like $80 to $100 is not breaking the bank, but it's something knowledgeable that you could learn.
Absolutely. And you also need to really pick what you're selling, right? Are you going to go for mass volume, or are you going to go niche at high ticket? And I think that that's very, very important to distinguish. But more or less, every company needs to understand how to market to their customers and educate them on that specific service. So I think that your course, how come you didn't tell me about this course? It's the first time I'm hearing about it.
I've been putting it together for over a year now, honestly, because I wanted to make sure it's right. I have a lot of case studies that I was working on, and it's not just one particular thing in the guide. It's kind of a blueprint of like teaching people how to go from finding their niche to editing to lighting to setting up the shoots to which social media platforms are suitable for which kind of content. all of the things a beginner would need to know to take them from 0 to millions of views.
And what is your preferred platform? What do you think will be the most dominant platform looking for? I know that you should have your hand in every single cookie jar if you're looking to expand your social media presence, but where do you find there to be the best bang for buck potential for someone starting out on social media?
What I always say is I think social media platforms serve different purposes.
Yeah.
So I would say TikTok is more for growth and exposure. You really blow up on TikTok.
Yeah.
Instagram is for depth and brand identity. So it really helps solidify your image and also reach out to brands. YouTube is for monetization and for long-term benefits. So YouTube is obviously the big be-all, end-all, I would say, of respectability, but also brands taking you seriously and also money-wise. But I would say, yeah, TikTok for growth and exposure, Instagram, depth and monetization, depth and brand identity, YouTube monetization.
And what I found interesting is that you initially started with fairly short form content on TikTok, but now you have a podcast on YouTube as well that's more long form. What do you think are do you think that you had to adapt a lot to take your short form style into long form? Or is it more or less the same thing? What do you think is the key mindset that you need to do for the type of content you're making?
Oh, it's kind of a struggle sometimes because your mind is always kind of focused on churning out that short form content because I've been doing it for so many years.
Yeah.
So even when I do the long form now, I'll find that me and my friend are constantly like going back into that short form style skit in between of an organic conversation. And that can be hard. But I would say that if you're someone new that's looking to grow, create long form pieces of content, sure, but in between of those, try to plan out structured short form pieces of content that can go viral that then redirect back to the long form.
So it's kind of like a funnel towards so if we were to hypothetically say this, grow your awareness on TikTok, Instagram's where people get to know you, but eventually is that all going to funnel into YouTube where you'll ultimately monetize that? Is that the current optimal strategy?
Ultimately, yeah. Well, it also depends on how well you monetize these platforms because some people make millions off of TikTok. Some people have Instagram stores that make a lot of money as well. So it really depends on which platform you are the expert in. I know a ton of Arab creators here who are now doing Snapchat and I've seen their Snapchat revenue.
Really, Snapchat?
It is insane.
Really?
And you would not even believe it.
I would never have guessed Snapchat.
Yeah,
I would
man.
never. Yeah, because Snapchat is a bit of a shady reputation
It's
for
got
what
a shady reputation.
Snapchat, I don't know. Like we were kids once, we know what Snapchat's used for. So.
Well, the thing is, people follow them because they just want to know what's going on every second of their lives. So it's not even the series that you see on that one particular page on Snapchat. All their revenue is coming from stories, but it's short form, literally. Okay, guys, now I'm in the car dealership. Let's see the car. Okay, guys, I got into the car. This is what it looks like. And each one is making them money.
So it's like live streaming on short form.
That's a very good way to put it.
That's incredible. Like that, I'm hearing about this. So I'm chronically online. Always, I've never heard of this. Is this something that's fairly new, or is it becoming, or has this been happening for a while?
It's been happening for the past 6 months, but it's fairly new. And now Creators HQ and the creator economy in Dubai are taking it very seriously. So Snapchat is really trying to onboard a lot of creators because there's a massive amount. Dude, we're talking about, I've met a creator who's making $500,000 almost every other month from just Snapchat alone. It's just the gold stars that he's getting from his stories.
Wow.
So Snapchat's taking it very, very seriously. And the cool thing about Snapchat, I guess, it's completely raw. So you don't edit any of your videos. It's you unfiltered. And they say you should post 500 to 1,000 snaps a day.
That's insane. That's like, you know, I think it's very interesting because usually when you post on social media, you have to be very meticulous.
Yes.
And very, very careful about what you say, depending on, you know, because you could burn your reputation in just a couple of seconds by saying the wrong word. So, but now this overexposure, do you think that there's this mental gymnastics that you have to do of saying, well, don't say anything too controversial, 500 to 1,000, that would be extremely exhausting. Is that something that you're getting into, the whole Snapchat game?
I tried. I still would love to do it, but it's just, man, it's so hard for me to wrap my head around it.
And I mean, you know, when the cameras are off and we're just talking as friends, you know, you'll say or do anything which can always be a little bit of a concern.
This is why I
and
wanted
you're
to
a comedian, right?
Yeah.
Like, so
this is why I've been wanting to live stream forever, and I'm like,
no, that's a terrible idea.
It's a terrible idea.
No, you should
right?
never
I
live
should
stream.
Never live stream.
Do not live stream at all.
You're right.
And now that you have your own business, how many people work underneath you? What is the team behind your brand? Is it how many people do you have working for you currently?
Well, I have my manager. She works out of the UK. I have my videographer, Alan, who's also my editor. And I'm currently trying to also onboard a PR/personal assistant type of person just to have help with my everyday thing with like bookings and calls and schedules and stuff.
Do you foresee yourself growing into a massive staff, or do you want to keep it small and lean? Like, where do you see your company or your own image going?
Ideally, I would just like to really focus on the editing and production level of things, reinvest into those things so that I can scale up the business to where I am not overseeing every single edit. The biggest challenge for me as a content creator in this business has been having to edit every single video myself or overlooking every single video because I need it to be to my liking, because I find that when I edit it the exact way I want to edit it, that's when it just blows up. And I haven't been able to replicate that. I've had few instances where there'll be an edit coming from somewhere and then it's like it blows up, but I have my own kind of sauce.
Okay, so
and it's also because I'm shooting it with that vision in mind. You know, like if we shot a reel right now,
yes,
I have the idea in my head of how I want it to look already.
Okay, so you have a vision in your head that you're trying to reproduce in real life, and when it doesn't pan out the exact way, even that can impact the virality of the clip or reel.
Yeah, but it also impacts my time, my money, my resources, because now I'm stressing. The editor wants feedback, and I don't know how to verbalize it because I'm like, well, you should have just got it. And then I'm like, I'll just do it myself.
I definitely understand that pain point when I'm recording content for my own company about tax laws or whatever. A slip of a word here and there completely changes what I'm trying to say. For you, that might be a punchline, right?
Yeah.
For a joke. So I completely understand.
Might be a facial reaction. That's with comedy. You know, it's literally like going from that, and if you don't catch that, then it's like
it's almost a signal for the audience to laugh as well. Yes. So instead of, the Friends laugh track, there is a facial cue that you now present for that kind of.
Very well put, yeah.
And these are the small psychological insights that really perfect you from going just a regular content creator to being really famous online. Are you saying that it's not more about what you do, but the mistakes that you mitigate? Is that the difference here between viral and non-viral people?
I think so, but I also think one of the most important things is you want to invoke an emotion in people when they're watching your videos, whether it's anger, whether it's jealousy, whether it's hatred, whether it's sadness, happiness. In the first 3 to 5 seconds, if you can hook them in with an emotion, then you can get them to watch. And then if your retention level is good, it's all just based on how you make people feel, right? And now there's other creators out there that is the Bruce TV is a great one. He's he's an Arab content creator, and he just talks to the camera, right? He's got like 3 million followers plus, and he literally just talks. He's like, hey, look, my baby doggies. My baby doggies, I found them over here on the street, blah, blah, blah. Millions and millions of views because he's just himself. And he's authentic, and he's talking about something that invokes an emotion. Oh, he's taking care of these cute puppies.
So you also hired an intern.
Yes.
He's here with us. He's right there in the corner. What did you look for in a new intern? Like, what were your what were the main points that you needed to hire Alan as your intern?
So I think the number one thing is honestly just having like the drive, so like the passion, right? To be able to take all of my BS because I also spew a lot of. So you have to have like a strong will, and then I think like the turnaround rate is another thing that's like super important. So like Alan was quick, like with getting out the videos and everything. And then I think just someone that I can hang around with that can vibe, man. That's so important.
So you believe in the aspect of kind of mentoring and having them around as people that you are likable and not just, a drone that works for you.
Yeah, 100%. I think when I scale up large enough, I can have a couple drones. No.
I think, what's really good actually is that the fact that we were employees for so long and we just ate so much, dirt.
Yes.
Like, let's just say the word dirt.
Yeah, dirt, yeah.
Dirt to our face.
A lot of dirt.
And I honestly think that we're much nicer bosses than what we've dealt with. I think we've dealt with a lot of like really garbage people over the years, and it's nice to be in that position of saying, well, you don't even know how good you have it. Like back when I was working, it was just completely awful, and management was just a theory. It wasn't actually something people practiced or cared about. But I think that this is showing a maturity in the UAE market where people are now creating their own businesses, they're hiring people, and they know how to treat people as well. So that's generally improving as well from what I'm seeing.
Absolutely. Dude, I ask Alan, bro, I go and pick him up from his house, drop him back, personal chauffeur, get him, we work out together. So I'm giving him gym training lessons. I feed him. I let him out of his cage sometimes. No, it's all great. Like we have I think that's super important because it helps to actually put more of the dedication and focus into the videos than afterwards.
Exactly. You know? I think in a previous podcast I had with one of my employees, I talked about motivation being such an important factor for people that work underneath you. And if they don't understand your dream and vision, they're just not going to give you 100%, and you're just writing a paycheck for someone that's phoning it in. And as people that may have in past phoned it in when we didn't like who we're working for, that's very normal.
It is normal, yeah.
So what was crazy is that one day I was seeing you post a reel, and for some reason Russell Peters has you in a neck choke. And I was like, man, I wish I was being choked out by Russell Peters. That guy's a legend. And he's so funny. We've been watching clips of him ever since we were kids. So what was it like meeting so many celebrities that you saw growing up? What are they like? How do you even approach that?
Well, Russell Peters was my idol growing up, man, because I wanted to do stand-up comedy, and he was a fellow Indian brown guy doing jokes, and I was like, wow. And then he invited me for dinner at Emirates Palace. He was like, I love your videos. You should come hang out. And I was like, that's insane. I could not even believe it. And that's the coolest thing about social media is like some of my idols have just reached out, and a lot of them have been very, very cool. We met Salman Khan once, which was...
met Salman Khan?
Yeah, he was...
Was that weird? Because you're just like, there's no real crossover between...
I'll tell you why it was super weird. It was at a UFC, it was at a karate combat event in Abu Dhabi, right? So we're all by the ring, and we were actually standing like ringside, right? So I'm over here, Salman Khan is next to me, Abdu Rozik, who's like the small, what do I call him? Little person influencer is there. He's like, yeah. You know, and then Tyrone Woodley, who's UFC champ, is standing next to me. Heavyweight, giant black dude standing next to me. And Salman Khan in the middle of the fight turns to me and he's like, who do you think is going to win? Well, and I'm like, I think I won because I don't know where.
I think you would know better, Salman Khan.
You would know better, yeah. And I'm like, this is insane. Like it was Steve Will Do It was next to him from like the Nelk Boys. I was seeing like Dana White across the room. I was seeing like all kinds of crazy people. And I think like that's what social media gave me access to is like some I was watching. This is the best example of it. It gave me access to the people that I like and to tell them how much I like their work. And I just really enjoy that. So like I was watching Mo, which is a show on Netflix by Mo Amer. Have you seen it?
Yeah, it was about this guy that moved to America. He was essentially a refugee.
Yes.
And then I've seen that
I love that show. And I was just watching it. I'm like, I'll take a story. And I took a story and I'm like, wow, I really love this show called Mo. Mo Amer messages me on Instagram. He's like, thanks for enjoying the show, man.
Wow, that's really crazy. So you just like write a review of any show and you can expect that very like the screenwriter of the show to hit you up.
Right? Yeah. Like I did a skit once about like being a billionaire, something. And then Dan Bilzerian messages me on Instagram and he has 45 million followers. You know Dan.
Yeah. The guy, beard, muscles, cigars, women, all that.
Yeah. And I'm like, he's like, hey man, nice skits. You know, if you want some cigars and some tequila or something, I could send it to you. And then we just got to talking about different kinds of things. But yeah, I think like meeting these celebrities was like a big shock for me in the beginning. I used to get very nervous, to be honest. I would fumble and I would be like, like I met Andrew Schultz recently. And I was also like, I love your podcast, you know? But I think over time, it's gotten to the point where I'm like, oh, everyone's just human and they're cool. Some people are not cool.
So the saying is, don't meet your heroes. Is that's less true than you think, and because the majority of the time they've been pretty nice.
It's less true. Majority of the time they've been pretty nice. I don't know if it's because like then they've maybe seen me or they've seen my following or they think like I'm a big bald dude and to be nice to me or something. I don't know, but for the most part they have been very, very nice.
Well, that's really good to hear because there's a lot of negativity online, especially when it comes to celebrities. And I wouldn't call it envy, but there's this presumption that if you're wealthy and famous, you must automatically just be a terrible person. So it's nice to hear that. And I know you personally, which I would now consider you wealthy and famous, and you've just always been the same. It's funny that you would call me, you'd still call me, and I'd be kind of surprised at that sometimes. Be like, yeah, we're friends.
Never
and stuff.
forget the day ones.
Yeah, which Now the meme is forget your day ones. And I thought, I didn't necessarily think that we'd stop being friends or anything, but I just thought you'd be so busy, but you'd call me all the time. Hey man, how you doing? Everything okay?
Yeah.
How do you know all this tax stuff? And I'm like, well, I own an accounting firm. He's like, and then you'd be like, whoa, when did that happen? And then it was just nice to catch up with a friend and see that fame and money not change them at all.
Yeah.
And
not just that, man. It was so nice to see that, like, we started from kind of the same roots where, like, you were working at the mall. I was, like, going through the metro, working dead-end jobs.
Yeah.
And we both kind of made it. And we did, like, we really got to, like, a point where we're flourishing in our careers. And that makes me happier than anything, bro. Like,
it's more realizing that, okay, if you really have the will and desire to approach success, even if you don't necessarily get to where you want to go, it's going to be a long and arduous process for you to get there. At least 10 to 15 years before you've built something substantial enough that you feel like you've made it. It's not overnight success. It's not, oh, one day I'm going to wake up and do it. It's just years of compounding effort and learning.
Absolutely. And I think one of the key things to my success also over the years has been just expanding my network. So now I've been networking with a lot of people who are serial entrepreneurs, people who are venture capitalists, people who are starting their own startups. And I think these people have given me so much knowledge because I'm truly an idiot. I'm just a comedian. I just tell.
I can confirm
jokes.
You are an idiot.
Yeah, I am. I'm very stupid.
Pretty dumb. I've seen you do things.
I was trying to get to this podcast and I accidentally went home.
Yeah, we actually scheduled this a week ago. So this is, I don't want to say the word, but you can tell from the look in my face.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah,
I
okay,
know
you're like,
of.
I called you. I was like, yeah, we have our podcast at 4. He's like, oh, I put Google Map directions and I just drove home. And I was like, what?
I was so excited for that podcast.
How does that even happen? Like, what do you...
Oh, man. It was, it was not a great day. But hanging around all of these people taught me so many valuable skills that, like, if you really, like, hang around individuals that are high net worth or like want to get somewhere in life, it actually really motivates you and pushes you to also do the same.
Yeah, because it's so easy to get complacent after you hit a specific number in your bank account that you think, okay, I'm pretty much, if not set for life, I'm pretty good for a while, for at least the next 5 to 10 years. Why should I keep pushing? And then what you very quickly realize is that the money dries up as quickly as it comes in. So if you don't keep going, you're either progressing or regressing. And has that been a key motivator? Do you want to just push this as far as you can go? Do you see yourself doing a global expansion of your comedy?
I would ideally like to ultimately expand it to the point where it's either on a TV network and I kind of do something down that route. But there's something in me that's always been pushing me towards an agency, especially in the Middle East. And, I can't shake this nagging feeling where I'm like, I would be good if I started. No, that's so correct,
because I think even if new talent rises, they would need someone like you to guide them on appropriate monetization, management, and appropriate invoicing to their brands, because you have experience working with them. Yes. You have experience knowing how much they can pay. Instead of a smaller creator being taken advantage of, you could come in and say, no, we want this much, or you walk, because relevance is a really high currency in today's market. And if you come in, it's so easy for a big business to exploit the creators, but if they have you by their side, they'd be pretty well protected.
Not just even big businesses. I've seen them exploited by the agencies a lot over here because, agencies like to put their markup on top of whatever. And so a lot of times there'll be an influencer that's just charging them, let's say 3,000 dirhams, but the agency is actually charging the brand 20,000 dirhams. And they get away with it because, the creator doesn't have a choice. And so there's a lack of that. And then the agency doesn't convey the ideas or the wants or the needs of the creator properly to the brand. I just worked on a brand deal recently that was absolutely horrendously managed. I can't mention the agency or the brand, obviously, but it was with a banking system. And I wrote a script. It was really funny, great script. I sent it to the agency. Now, the agency comes back. They're like, oh, we want you to do it like this. And what they sent me back was an ad read. It was basically like, is your money sitting at home doing this, or is it working for you? I'm like, I cannot do that. I can't post that, right? Get what the main owner of the agency calls me up and tells me. He says, so actually we had a little bit of an issue. When you sent the script, we forgot about it and we didn't send it to the brand. It was last minute. So I went on ChatGPT. I ChatGPT the script and sent it to the brand. They approved it. So now you have to do this script.
That's ridiculous. I mean, ChatGPT is just reading off stuff that we post online anyway.
Literally,
So
yeah.
it doesn't make any sense for you to remove the creative component. Otherwise, you're just going to get recycled scripts, recycled takes, all in, and then there won't be anything original anymore.
Not just the creative bits. I think the last bastion of what AI will not be able to solve is comedy. I truly believe that, because I think comedic sense of humor is the one thing I haven't been able to find ChatGPT or Grok or any other platform to have actually been able to break down jokes and understand how they work.
And honestly, whenever I see a business heavily leverage AI for their marketing, I trust them even less, because literally anyone could write a prompt into a browser and come up with whatever video. But when you have a real person talking, engaging with you, answering your questions, I think that is a great opportunity for people to take themselves to the next level, because they're not relying on, just made up slop is what the kids are calling it these days to push their product. And I totally agree with you there.
100%. And I would say, I always am the person that I'm very annoyed when I find out a video is actually AI when it wasn't. And I think that that's why people say, oh, content creators are going to be replaced by AI. I think it's going to take a long time for brands to actually want AI content creators to represent them, because I feel like as a consumer, if I found out that this content creator was actually just AI that was behind a brand, I would trust the brand, just like you said.
Absolutely
way less.
And I can see a lot more IP cases propping up if you go and do a video for a brand, they technically own that video, and they might try to use AI to reproduce your likeness into the next bunch of videos. So that is also, it's happening with voice actors, models for certain agencies. And like you said, comedy's kind of bulletproof because you came up with the ideas and the scripts and the execution. So sure, they could potentially, use your likeness, but they won't have, that comedic spark that you have to bring the message to life. So it's pretty bulletproof. It's still scary though. We should all get lawyers. Everyone's getting a lawyer. I'm getting a lawyer.
I'm getting a lawyer.
Alan's getting a lawyer. Alan's getting 2 lawyers.
He's getting 2 lawyers. Yeah, as soon as this is done.
Alan is the most well-protected man in this country.
Alan has a lot of dirt on me. He has hours and hours of footage from my podcast.
That's also something I wanted to talk to you about. I think you should stop being so friendly with people. Just as in listen, I'm not your lawyer.
I gave you the keys to my house because I wanted you to feel at home.
No, stop. You need to stop talking to certain.
So I should have told my mate about the Bitcoin wallet in my house.
Yeah. It was.
How's she gonna know where to clean?
I remember you once adopted a dog that was very feral, and you nursed him to health.
Oh yeah.
The white Snowy. What happened to Snowy?
I still have him. He's
no way.
Yeah.
Snowy's still good?
Yeah, Snowy's still good.
Oh my god.
He's a little.
Is he still wild? Because you took him to dog school.
Man. Yeah, he's domesticated. He's chill now. He was always pretty chill. He was living with my sister for a while, but now I gave him back to my sister because I realized taking care of a dog is a lot of work.
Which is really crazy because when you got Snowy, your dog, you had no money, you were living with your sister, and you were like, I found this sad dog on the street. I will love him like he's my child. And I said, Anand, you have no money. How are you going to take it? Dogs are expensive, especially in Dubai. You're like, I don't care. I love him. I love him like he's my brother. And I was so confused by why you did that. But I truly understand now because you're also an animal lover. That's something that people might not know about you.
Absolutely, man. I love animals. That is very true.
Obviously, when you become famous online, I guess you'd get a lot of attention online, a lot of people hitting you up. You've mentioned that you've gotten bombarded with the amount of women that contact you now. How do you what is that like how do you manage that kind of intake of people hitting on you? Do you have to be more cautious about who you date? Do you have a filtering mechanism? How does that work? How do you date when you're famous?
Well, it's interesting. I actually get bombarded way more by men than by women.
That is true.
I have to say that. Yeah, it is. My DMs are very strange, and they're all commenting on my shiny scalpy head for some reason.
It is very shiny.
It is very shiny. It's the lighting, and I've gotten crazy proposals from different people, wild stuff. But I would say that it has affected my dating in the sense that I started to be a lot more aware of why people are asking me out, whether they have an ulterior motive. You know, a couple of times I've gone on dates with women and they're like, so are you gonna post me on your stories? And
Yeah.
I'm like, we haven't even got an appetizer yet.
Yeah.
And you know, this one time I was sitting at a restaurant recently, and this girl came and sat next to me and like pretended like I didn't see her, and then she waited for me to strike conversation with her, and then she's like, oh, can I just join you at your table? And then it turns out halfway into our conversation, I realized she knows everything about me.
Wow.
She's watched all my videos. She knows every single friend of mine. And she knows, like, she's like, oh, it's almost like a universe you guys have created and I'm a part of it. And I was like,
What?
And then I called for the check and you know, but I just realized, like, social media, man, it's like giving access to so much of yourself out there to the point where, like, now if I go to Dubai Mall, I'll, you know, get recognized a lot. I'll get pictures taken care of me. But it's affected my dating. I mean, dating, obviously, it's been better since I got it. But I've almost, like, slowed down. I don't use Tinder and Bumble anymore and stuff because it's almost, like, a little weird. I prefer to just, like, meet someone in person.
Well, even if you were on Tinder and Bumble, people are just going to presume it's a fake profile. They wouldn't think the guy. Is there like a verification process or something?
There is. I mean, I still have a Bumble account active. I'm not going to lie. I just haven't, like, logged in for a long time.
Yeah.
But it's usually through Instagram and stuff. It might be like someone locally who's seen me and they like want to hang out or something.
So you're still like an eligible bachelor.
Yeah.
And what do you look for in a partner? What do you look for a girl that would want that wants to date you?
Man, the thing I realized the most that I look for is, you know, they always say opposites attract, and I didn't understand that before, but I'm someone that has such high energy and I'm like a golden retriever. And all of my most successful relationships have been with partners who are very mellow, very like peaceful, quiet, and, you know, like just like nurturing, you know. I think that kind of a thing. I don't need someone else who's like extremely high energy and wants to go hiking every day. Let me be that guy.
Yeah.
Because I'm already that, you know. And I also just love someone who can feel like, one of the most important things, when I feel like I can be safe around them, like I can just truly be myself and let go. I don't have to care about being someone else.
Yeah, and I guess once again that's very dramatically multiplied by just your social media status. So yeah, I don't think you're getting married. I don't see it.
It's also very hard because any girl I date becomes extremely jealous because I do videos on dating topics with multiple different women.
Yeah.
So that's never an easy thing.
So, well, the women that you've dated in the past, have they been there? Did they start off being okay? Then eventually they said, no, this is too much?
One or two of them, but like my last relationship, she was very cool with it, actually. Like very, very, and I think that's so important, is to have that understanding about what your partner does. You know, one of my friends she's a stand-up comedian, and I just understand how hard it would be dating a stand-up comedian.
Yes, absolutely. Because you're not only are you dating that person, but you might be potential material.
Yeah, you might be potential material. She has to go up to bars and clubs every other night to make strangers laugh, and so it's a whole thing. But I think if you find someone that you truly love like that, it's rare. So you got to cherish that. You know, it's not as easy as it.
How have your friendships changed? Which is interesting question, considering, yes, I don't think they've changed, but have you found that any other friendships of yours has a dynamic changed at all?
I'm actually very happy, man, to say that like my friendships have strengthened. If anything, I've closed my circle to like my close friends, and I think it's never changed. Like my friends are still my friends. They were in the beginning a bit like, oh, you're not making enough time for us, kind of a thing.
Yeah.
But then I had to really like make them understand, like, I have to literally fly out to South Africa in a week or two.
Yeah.
I have to shoot this promo. I have to do this thing. And then they kind of got it. And to this day, I have like 500 unread WhatsApp messages. And the people that are truly my friends, they'll understand, man, that just like you and me, that when we come back after a while, it's like we...
I mean, it's not uncommon for us to not talk for like 4, 5, 6 months. But guess what? You know, you're running your own business, your own social media accounts. It's going to take up all your time, like
Absolutely,
multiple 12-hour days. And more importantly, when you hire people and they work for you, you're responsible for them. Mm-hmm. You got to make sure the money's flowing in and the brand deals are being are being made so that you can provide their paychecks and everything's being taken care of. So completely understandable for you to well, even before you were famous, you were really bad at responding to messages. Oh my God.
Oh my
your
God,
sister once lost you. I remember this so clearly. Your sister once lost you.
My phone was dead.
Yeah, your phone was dead. So your sister WhatsApp, like, WhatsApps me and then messages me on Facebook. It's like, where's Anand? Is he alive? And I'm like, I don't know. And quite frankly, probably not. Like, he's probably dead in a ditch somewhere, which you've always joked about, that you just disappeared and be found in a ditch somewhere. But yeah, you've gotten better with your phone. I think I credit that to whoever you're hiring to answer your messages for you. And I'm so glad that, we've still been friends after what, like, how long has it been? 7, 8 years?
7, 8 years.
7,
yeah,
8
man.
years, so long.
It's
So
crazy.
I'm really happy that you could join me here today. Thanks,
Thank you, man.
Anand.
I appreciate it. And I want whatever vampire thing you're doing to stay young like this, because you still look like the same you looked 7 to 8 years ago. So
It's
I'll
the
have-
hair, dude. It's the hair.
Can you
Maybe
edit that hair? Thanks, man. I appreciate
Alright.
this. That was
See you,
great.
dude.
Yeah. Oh,
That was awkward.
yeah. And then okay.
All right.
Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Anand Raman, and I am here with Precision Accounting today. Guys, if you need any kind of accounting for your tax, for your firm, for your auditing, for your finances, make sure to check them out. They have been nothing but kind, supportive, professional, and I would highly recommend them to anyone in the UAE looking for accounting.
I didn't
services.
tell him to do that. He just did that.
Yeah,
He-
I know. It's what I do, man. So,
All right. Thanks, man. I'll use it for sure.
speaking of thanks, man, guys, make sure you check out.
All right.